This is a Glendale Library Arts and Culture program created for and featuring teens, edited and hosted by the Teen Library staff.
Hi everyone, this is Melissa.
And Desiree.
Welcome to our guest episode of Teen Gen Talks.
Today's guest is currently an undergrad public policy major at the University of California, Riverside, with an emphasis on policy institutions and process and international foreign policy. She is the Dean's Chief Brand Ambassador and Public Affairs Student Assistant at the UCR School of Public Policy. She will be graduating this spring. She looks forward to a career in education policy. Her favorite TV show is Gilmore Girls. Hashtag Team Jazz. She is also a massive Dodgers fan, and her favorite player is Corey Seager.
Grab a snack or a drink, and let's welcome Maddie to Teen Gen Talks.
Yay.
Thank you so much, Maddie, for taking the time out of your day to talk with us. We have a lot to discuss.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
So to start off, we would like to talk a bit about your college experience so far. What has been your favorite and least thing about college?
Oh my gosh, it's a lot. So I just finished my second year. I'm entering my third year in a few weeks. And it's a whirlwind. I mean, there's so much. I personally lived on campus. I attend UC Riverside. And it just the first few days, I remember getting there before school started, moving in, and just roaming around campus. And it's this huge campus, and I know others are bigger. And just trying to be like, okay, where am I? What's going on? So it was really daunting the first couple of days into the first week, just because it's a brand new experience, and I don't think anyone can really prepare you. And just meeting a ton of new people. My favorite part has definitely been the people I've met. So I just love the camaraderie. Like, we're in this together. You see the same faces in classes, same faces across campus. So that's by far my favorite. My least favorite, there are a couple just like general ed breath courses that you kind of have to push through. So now that I'm only taking upper division classes only for my major, I've already seen a huge difference. You're just completely pulled in, and you're interested, and it's what you want to do. So it can be hard those first 2 years getting through just some of the requirements. But you have to do what you have to do, and you, even with all your friends, you're in it together. A lot of study groups, a lot of late nights at the library together. So the good and the bad are kind of mixed together.
Why did you choose UCR?
Gosh, well, my older sister actually just graduated from UCR. So now maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I went and toured with her. My mom and I went ahead and did a campus tour, and that college was not even on my mind. But I had kind of decided I wanted to go into political science, poli-sci, and the guide told us about the foundation of the School of Public Policy. It was brand new at the time. Now 6 years later, it's more established. And I just remember my mom kind of nudging me. I mean, like, oh, that sounds really cool. That's like a unique opportunity. So it's a hectic time hearing back from colleges, and when UCR was the one for me, and looking into it, and I was lucky where I knew a few people there already, and I actually went in as political science, and then after taking a few courses, shifted and changed my major into public policy. So it was a full circle moment for me, and meeting so many students from the School of Public Policy. So many of them go to UCR for the school. Like that was their goal, and they got in. So yeah, it was just, I only applied to UCs. I decided to stay in state for undergrad. And UCR, it just really worked out for me in a way. And that's a message I would just want to tell every high school senior, is it will work out, even if it's not your plan. Like, COVID has taught me, you can have a plan, and that doesn't like it happen. But I really think everything will work out. And with my job at the School of Public Policy, I've had so many opportunities, and I talk about this with my family. I wouldn't have gotten those opportunities at any other school. I really don't think so. So it definitely worked out for me, and just having that familiarity with my sister, and having the School of Public Policy on the back burner, And then also deciding, oh, one weekend, okay, I will go back home, and having that option that a lot of other students don't have.
What's a tip that you think every new college student needs to know?
Like, take every opportunity. You may not follow through with it. You can't follow through with everything. But I remember those first couple weeks in orientation as well. All the clubs are out there. Greek life is out there. I mean, you name it, like, so many opportunities are out there. And we have a website called Handshake with Jobs. And I remember talking to so many representatives from clubs, so many representatives from Greek life, applying to so many jobs on Handshake, because I just didn't want to regret not taking that next step. And I ended up not joining Greek life, not joining too many clubs, but I was able to find myself. It took my third quarter, so spring quarter, is when I found the school policy, the ambassador program, and all my people. So it took time, and it can be really hard, but just talk to people, find out their stories, and just instead of I stayed in a lot of days and a lot of nights, but going out with those friends and meeting people, and you'll find opportunities that you weren't even looking for. So to just try and be as out there as possible.
It's like, for someone that's shy, how do you suggest, like talking to a club or, like applying for jobs and all that good stuff?
Right. Yeah. And I joke I'm ambiverted, and my boss recently was like, "You're extroverted. Like, come on."
Yeah.
He's an introvert, where he's going, "Believe me, I've been around you enough. You're an extrovert." And it's hard. And so many of my friends from school are introverts, and they have to put themselves out there. And it's really hard, and you don't want to be embarrassed. I know it's overwhelming. I know people with social anxiety, it's just not what they want to do, and just seeing a huge crowd of people. But one thing I would say is I didn't feel like judged by anyone. It's like, we're all new to this. And I've heard that with transfer students too. It can be hard when you transfer in and you meet so many people who have known each other for 2 years. But everyone, in my experience, was super welcoming. So and they want you, like, literally they're there to recruit. If you kind of think about it that way, you see those career fairs, those club fair, all that, like, they are there to recruit you. And they put their best people out there. They put those people who can have small talk like that, and who can who have a lot of friendships and can talk to people easily. So even if you're shy and introverted, you may not go out every time your extroverted roommate or friend goes out, but even just the little steps you take, or even finding one person, can totally change your experience. So it doesn't have to be an all day, every day kind of thing. Once you feel comfortable, and you found one club or one person that you're like, okay, this will make my experience that much better.
How do you balance social life and homework? How do you find that balance?
Yeah, it was really hard for me at the beginning. So my first quarter, I didn't have a job. And like I said, I was just meeting a ton of people. And I was taking a lower class load. I wasn't stacked. So I know semester you take 5 classes, but with quarter, you can take 3 or 4. So I was taking 3 my entire first year. So that left a lot of downtime. And what really saved me with the balance was I found, we had something called a learning community, where we were all poli-sci majors. We had a lecture and discussion together. We had a great TA. We had another class once a week together, and we decided to form a study group, like this huge study group. And then it ended up dwindling down. And then a couple of us stuck together through the next quarter, and then the next quarter. So you kind of find your people, and we just held each other accountable. It was, you know what, I'm struggling. Let's just get together. And I can't tell you how many hours we spent just like banging our head against the table, like so that is totally how I got through it. I know we turned the social aspect into homework and studying, which I'm really grateful for, because then it's a 2-in-1. And something that the deadlines stack up, and you just have to really prioritize. And I know a lot of kids lose a lot of sleep because it takes them a while to figure out the planning and all that. It definitely got harder for me once I got my job. So those who work throughout college, I know Desiree, you are, I am, I know my friends are, you don't really have an option but in your free time to do schoolwork, and then your social life does become the last pick. Like, it just happens that way. Or you will fail a class, or you will get a poor grade, and sometimes you need to learn that lesson or retake that class, and that's totally fine. That happens to so many students. But I think the busier you are, you just realize, okay, this is what I have to do, when I have to do it. And but yeah, what definitely saved me is just having those study buddies, and we would get together, and teaching people can help you learn. If you know one concept, they know another concept, and you get together, you can really help each other. So that was so beneficial for me.
We've gotten to know more about college life. Let's dive into your major specifically. Can you explain to the viewers at home what public policy is?
Yes, so it's a pretty uncommon major. It's up and coming. So like I said, I entered as political science. It was actually political science - public service, and I was mistaken, and what I thought I was getting into was public policy, and that happens a lot. I've talked with staff, and they're like, we have so many major changes, because they realize, oh, this wasn't what I meant. So the best way I can explain it, and that I try to explain to people, is political science is very theoretical. Yes, a lot of politicians major in political science because there wasn't another major. I think you're going to start to see a lot of public policy majors in the next coming years, because political science is very, I use this all the time, but it's like, hypothetically, do democracies go to war more than other types of government? It's a very research heavy field, and especially going to a UC which is focused on research, I just kind of realized I took great classes. Comparative science, political science was not for me, and I took that while I took my first public policy class. And my public policy class talked about specific laws and policies and regulations and how they came to be, why they're there, how they're implemented, what it takes to overrule, say, Roe versus Wade, like how the process works. It's so hands-on, and it's so applicable. And I personally just didn't find that in poli-sci. It's obviously a very popular major, nothing against it, but and a lot of our professors also teach in poli-sci. So they do that because they're mingled at the moment, and I think public policy is going to make a name for itself. But when you hear about laws, there's policies, rules, regulations. Anything that you're seeing with COVID right now are policies, where they're saying you have to close your doors, you have to wear a mask. Those are all policies. So they're huge things going on around you all the time, and the major prepares you to advocate for them, to create them, to try and get rid of them. The hardest part is implementation, and that takes years. It's realizing that, and I think that's where people can get frustrated with government, and I'm there with you, but once you start to learn more, it's like, so all these things are in place that, it's going to take a long time for any law or policy to go into effect and then to be implemented. So it's really wonderful because policies could go from environment, education, economy, foreign, like you name it, any topic. If you're like, for me personally, through this time, I've found I'm really passionate about education policy, and that took time for me to narrow it down. So I'm in a broad major where I will be able to specialize later on.
So like in high school, were there any specific classes that you suggest to take, like towards the major?
Yes, so EP Gov, my favorite class, I absolutely loved it. And it is this little introduction to how everything works. You just start to learn. it's an introduction, and it's really wonderful. So if you're looking into the broad, are you interested in law, policy, poli-sci? Another class, AP Environmental Science, was huge for me, and my next thing I'm super passionate about is the environment, and every factor includes policy. So that's what I started to learn in AP Environmental Science, was the Kyoto Protocol, was the Paris Agreement, was all these things that implement policy. So getting a little glimpse into it, those are the two classes personally that I took the most away, and now I'm seeing, that's the role in the path I'm on.
So when and how did you know that you wanted this, like this was your passion?
Growing up, I always wanted to be a teacher, and now, full circle, education policy. I always wanted to be a teacher, and then I went into high school and I started taking just a lot of classes, hard classes, and I realized, and it was a big jump, and I'm very lucky to know what I wanted to do from it early on. Most people change their minds and change their majors in college. So I changed mine, but it was similar. I didn't enter a new, I didn't switch from biology to public policy. It was a similar realm. And I realized, I went to DC and I was like, oh my gosh, politics is a whole world, but I think I want to be in it. And I know people are going to comment and have opinions on it, as everyone does about the government and policy. But I was like, that's what I really want to do. And then switching to public policy, it was taking the two classes simultaneously, the political science and the public policy, and just knowing. Like, I had this gut feeling. And like I said, it was hard. I left so many friends, and I entered this new world that has totally shaped my life. But it's really a gut feeling, and it's, even if I had a hard time telling people what I major in or what I want to go into, because they have an opinion, and most people give you a look or say that opinion. So I would say, just if you want to be a doctor, it's going to take a lot of years and it's going to be really hard, but you can do it. If you want to be a politician, you can do it, and people are going to have opinions, but we have to have politicians in our government. So, I would hope to have people I believe in and, that I know are really good people in there. Then I would love if we could end the corrupt thoughts about DC and the government and politics. I don't know if we ever will, but I think it was just this gut feeling and being able to visualize the life I wanted to have, and just seeing it in my head and knowing, okay, it may not turn out exactly how I'm picturing, but if I end up in that general field, I know I'll feel satisfied. I want to help people, and I want to see the change. I want to see that what I'm doing is impacting others.
How did you become a Dean Chief Brand Ambassador?
So at the School of Public Policy, we have the ambassador program, which are students like myself, and they use it as either volunteer or an internship. Whereas for me, it's my job, I get paid, and we interface with the external community. So we are under the marketing, events, and communication umbrella. And the second part of my job description is public affairs student assistant. So that might make a little bit more sense to people, but we host over 100 events every year. We help with that, and we just communicate. We work with fundraising with the director of development. We work, we attend events. It's really such a wonderful opportunity, and it's a great networking opportunity as well. And like I said, just the people I've met, and it's by far been my best experience at UCR. And I've been so lucky to continue it remotely. And something new that we started in March and is a podcast. And it's this really awesome, nonpartisan, we just invite policy experts on, and we just talk about what's going on. So we've been talking about COVID and, every facet of it. We've talked about, oh my goodness, county, city, state. We've talked about all these industries that have been impacted by COVID. And we've talked about just the science behind it as well, and public health. And it's just been this really wonderful opportunity that I have to be the host. I edit it. I call it my baby. And just to be able to speak with people in their field who are experts and who know so much more than I do. And it's just been such a wonderful opportunity. And that's why I was so happy to come on to this. I know podcasts are just the it thing right now. And and we're finishing up season 1. We're beginning season 2 at the beginning of the school year. And we are on Anchor and Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and it's just the feedback I've gotten has been really nice. We've seen student engagement. It's a student-run podcast, which isn't very common, and we have students emailing us with ideas and contacts and what they think is important. We've started a series on Black Lives Matter and talking about racism and systemic racism. And we're beginning in October, November, a series on the election, because whoever is in power at any level implements and dictates policy. So it's just finding out really what's going on. I have learned so much from it. It's been really incredible. So I have the dean and my boss and the school to thank for everything. They made my experience so much better at the UCR School of Public Policy.
What are your plans after graduation?
Actually, COVID has changed things up a little bit for me. I will be graduating in 3 years rather than 4. I was always looking to graduate maybe a quarter or 2 early, but I worked with my academic advisor to figure it out. So this upcoming spring, I'll be graduating, which is a little scary. But I do want to join the Peace Corps. It scares my mother, but I've always wanted to do, and it really is just, I think it will change me for the better, and it's a 2-year commitment abroad, and I'm looking into one of their programs where you could get your teaching degree simultaneously while volunteering with them. So that's something I'm looking forward to. I hope by next October, next fall, hopefully there's a vaccine and I'll be able to go. So I'm going to contact a Peace Corps representative to kind of see, because for the first time they recalled Peace Corps volunteers because of the pandemic. So I know there's a lot going on with them right now. So that's not guaranteed. That's what I would like to do. But I'm also interested in getting my master's. And I would like to end up in DC, Arlington, Virginia area. So in my perfect world, I would go to Peace Corps and then move to Virginia and get my master's or just go straight to work. I would love to end up working for the federal government, working on education policy, especially with everything that's happened. So like just in recent months, I just see so many differences that we could make and changes we could make. So I get bored kind of easily. So I'm a bit of a go-go. But I do love school. So I see a master's for myself happening, but it's just chronologically, I'm not sure in what order that will all happen.
Okay, so before we end, we have some rapid fire questions to ask you. So the first question is, what is your favorite color?
Red. Maybe, a certain pink shade is crawling up there, but I'm a good red, and I know Melissa and I disagree on that. But
Yes.
How did you know that Corey Seager was going to be your favorite player in the Dodgers?
Corey and I remember my mom, we've always been huge Dodger fans, and I was home one day and she was watching the game. We specifically have Spectrum for Sportsnet, and she started screaming, "Maddie, come here, look at this kid, look at this guy." And I just ran in and I was like, and then he became Rookie of the Year and an All-Star, and it just clicked.
So what is an artist that you are currently listening to?
Oh my. I just really got into, and I know it's a favorite of you guys. So I was into 5 Seconds of Summer when they originally came out, and then I kind of dropped off a little bit, and then I hopped back on with their most recent album. And I have just listened to it like over and over and over. Wildflower is might be my favorite off the album, but I'm not a super hip like in person. I love 80s and like 2000s. So for new music, probably 5 Seconds of Summer.
Oh, great choice. That's a wonderful choice. Just gotta, put that out there. What is a book that you have read recently or are currently reading that you would recommend?
So with quarantine, I have really gotten back into reading. I read, it's an old book, but it's like a huge, I think you guys probably know, Year of Wonders.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about a pandemic. Centuries ago, and oh my gosh, it was by Geraldine Brooks. It was such an amazing book, and I decided to read it because we're living through a pandemic, and it's funny how some things have changed in people's reactions. I've also just read Little Fires Everywhere, which was turned into a Hulu series. I read Circle of Friends, which is another. It's a little old, but it was really good too.
So thank you so much, Maddie. We learned a lot about you. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to talk with us. Can you let everyone at home know where they could connect with you and any upcoming projects?
Yeah, so I am, personally, you probably don't want to follow me. I'm not that special, but I would definitely say look up the UCR School of Public Policy. Look up our podcast. It's UCR School of Public Policy on Spotify, Apple, Anchor, pretty much anywhere you can find it. On social media, UCR SPP. And that's where really my work is my life. It's what I do every day, especially now, but it's also my school. So I would just say definitely go check out both our podcast and the school. We're working on really, really great things, and we have webinars coming up for those of you who are interested in the Black Lives Matter movement, as well as just policy in general. We're talking with really great people. We have a screening regarding climate change as well. So if you go on our website or social media, you'll see all the information for that.
Yay.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did you enjoy this episode? If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Glendale Library Arts and Culture channel.
Tune in every Friday at 4:30 for Teen Gen Talks. And if you would like to contact us and be part of the Teen Gen Talks, please email us at teengentalks@glendaleca.gov. Thank you. See you next episode.
Bye.
Bye.